The top 2 things that make men really happy in relationships are, number 1, to have great sex often. And number 2, to feel appreciated for all that he does for his partner and his family. The top 2 things that women are most fulfilled by in relationships are, number 1, to have great non-sexual affection, and number 2, to have great emotionally intimate conversations. So the top 2 needs of men and women are essentially not aligned. He wants great sex, she wants intimate conversation. And the secret is, if she gets the intimate conversations and the non-sexual affection, he will automatically get the great sex. If he feels appreciated, he will be more than happy to participate in emotionally intimate conversations. So in this video, I'm going to go deep into how to erect masculine frame and leadership through flirting via text, so that the relationship can stay alive and passionate for as long as possible. We're going to dive into why the number 1 foreplay tool you have, your phone, is extremely powerful in creating this sustained erotic tension. You want to stay until the end of the video because I'm going to share the personal examples of dates I have been on where the men have been pretty good in masculine leadership and creating that erotic and sexual tension. Hi, I'm Emily Liu. I help you climax in love through the deep psycho-spiritual understandings of the root causes of why your relationships are challenged in the first place. I invite you to get my new book, Climax: Why Great Leaders Need Love Affairs. Okay, so if you like this content, I invite you to subscribe to the channel so that you could learn more about how to get your relationships right. On to the content. Masculine frame and leadership and flirting via text. Whether you're dating or in a long-term relationship, it is a responsibility for both the man and the woman to give each other direction on how to lead each other well. I am explaining these concepts through the lens of a heterosexual, heteronormative relationship, where the man identifies as a masculine essence man, which means he is identified by his mission and his success. And the women are identified as this feminine, flowy, surrendered person who wants to take the lead of her man. Because one of the greatest joys in life is to have this thriving relationship that is full of passion and eroticism. And we need to understand how the inner masculine and feminine energies within all of us play into creating this erotic tension through something as simple as the phone. So let's explain masculine frame and leadership. When women get into relationship, we want to be led. Feminine essence women who are in like cracked open feminine energy wants a masculine man to lead them well. And oftentimes men just don't know how to lead because they haven't been taught. It's not their fault. If a woman has some of this information, she can actually give him the direction to lead her well. So it is incumbent upon both the men and the women to be telling each other what is needed in order to create this thriving partnership. So what does this mean in terms of whether you're dating or already in a committed relationship? Ladies, this is about letting him know how great it makes you feel when you see his name come across your phone. And just say, wow, my heart skips a beat when I see your name. I love it when I hear from you during the workday, even if it's just for a short, quick conversation. I love the fact that you are thinking of me. Thank you. I appreciate you for it. So, ladies, this is about giving him feedback through using I appreciate you for doing this, because the number 1 thing that makes men happy is to see their woman be happy. That is what makes him feel fulfilled as a man. So here's a deeper layer of psychology of why it is so important to be in this polarized dance of the masculine man being in that masculine leadership role, and then the feminine woman being able to follow his lead and just surrender into the flow. Because when the man is in that masculine energy and that masculine leadership and frame, it is validation that he is succeeding. The masculine is always asking, am I succeeding or am I failing? So when he receives the validation that he is succeeding, that he is fulfilling her, that he is making her happy, it makes him feel 10 feet tall. And when he feels 10 feet tall, he just wants to give more, because there's nothing more fulfilling than giving to his woman and watching her light up because he's doing it right. He needs a little bit of direction from the woman on what he needs to do, especially when it comes to just flirting via text. So flirting via text is related to creating this whole dance, because it's that constant connection that helps him know that, oh, I am succeeding. She is being fulfilled. She's telling me on text on how she feels like so good. She's giving me these sexy emojis that she's feeling happy. And that's why it's important, ladies, to give feedback, constant feedback and appreciation to the man. So when he gives to you and you feel fulfilled and seen and you feel emotionally heard, this is actually tapping into the feminine part of you, like, am I loved? And am I loved goes back into that vulnerable place of that little girl inside of you that was always asking, like, oh, am I loved by daddy? Because being a woman means, like, we want to feel that daddy's love. And in adult relationships, we want to recreate that feeling of feeling loved. Or if you were a woman that did not feel loved by daddy, and then you're getting this love from the man, it could feel so healing and soothing to finally feel like, wow, he's fulfilling my needs. I'm so happy. I feel so loved and seen. And that's when you really feel like a princess, and that's very healing. And for the man to be able to provide that love to you, that connection, that validation, this is where he feels like, whoa, I am a man after all. And that could heal the little boy parts inside of him that never felt like he was enough, especially if he had been criticized by authority figures that you're never going to amount to anything, you're never going to make enough money, you're not smart enough. So when you give him the appreciation that he's doing stuff right and that he feels successful, that could be so healing for the little boys inside of him. When you see a relationship through that kind of lens, it could create like a deep, intimate bond that could take you to altered states of consciousness during your lovemaking. I made several videos about spiritual intimacy and sacred sexuality, so you could look at that playlist to understand this dynamic. And understanding this masculine frame and how flirting via text can be part of the ingredients that can lead you into this phenomenal relationship. It is very important to understand these concepts and how they apply to not only short-term relationships, but also long-term relationships. Scenario, I had an interaction with a man where he was traveling, so there was not a possibility for us to get together anytime soon. We had a great connection on the first phone call. Here's the direction I gave him. I said, I challenge you to keep the energy alive between us. You know, we could text and see where that goes, and then we could have some phone calls. Since you're not going to be back in town for a couple of weeks, and I seem to like you, we can keep this going. So ladies, it's important that you give the direction to the man. And this particular man took me up on the challenge, and it was great. Because later on that day, what I did was I started something in text, and then we just ran with it, and we ended up in a 2-hour texting conversation, and I got pretty steamy. So that definitely moved the energy between us, and that moved the emotional connection. Because flirting via text, if you have experienced it before, it can move a lot of energy. Yeah, I know this little device can be pretty powerful in sustaining that erotic tension, and also, like, you know, for women to be able to feel seen and heard, to feel the affection, the non-sexual affection through flirting via text. And women's need to have emotional, intimate conversation can also happen through the text exchange. So guys, I invite you to compliment her through text. I loved it the other day when you wore that V-neck such and such. It just turned me on so much. So this is showing affection. This is also showing how much she just turned you on. And that works a lot, guys, because a woman's number one turn on is to be the turn on. So if we know that you are turned on by us because you are giving us feedback that you are turned on by whatever aspects of our personality or physical appearance that really turns you on, that validation we get, it turns us on even more because we want to be the turn on, and that's what turns us on. So this is why flirting via text can be such a powerful tool to show her that you are not afraid to take the lead to compliment. Here's another example of a situation where a guy, after a great first date, texted me and said, please give me feedback on anything I could do to help you feel happy. Because when you're happy, I'm happy. And when I read that text, I said, oh my gosh. At that time, I didn't realize the huge significance of how men want to see their women happy, because that is how they fall in love. They fall in love through witnessing that he can make her happy. If he can make you happy and you appreciate him for the happiness that he is able to get out of you, that's called falling in love for a man. And for women to feel so seen and loved and validated, that's what makes us fall in love. So guys, I invite you to ask your woman, please share with me what makes you really happy. Because I love it when I see you happy. Nothing turns me on more than to see you happy. So many men, friends and acquaintances and people I've dated have shared with me that during the sexual encounter, it's like their number one thing that they're concerned about is fulfilling the woman, to make sure she's happy, to make sure she has her orgasms. So many men have even shared that it's not about my orgasm, it's about me giving you what you need so that you could feel safe and fulfilled with your orgasms, because nothing makes me feel like a man than to be able to witness your happiness from being fulfilled by the way I give you pleasure. So whether it's in the bedroom or whether it's flirting through text and witnessing the pleasure that the woman shows, like through the text or whatever he does in the bedroom, like it's making her happy, it makes men really happy to be able to take that lead and know that he's doing the right thing to crack a smile in his woman's heart. This means that in order for a man to really step into masculine frame and to create the container for how he's going to lead the woman in the relationship, it is important for the women to give direction to the men to say, this would really make me happy. Would you like to know what really would make me happy? And ladies, this is also about giving him the appreciation for every little thing he does that makes you happy. When he gets that feedback, he will do more of it for you. So this is creating that emotional intimacy. It makes me so happy when I could just share what happened to me during the day that frustrated me, and for you to just listen. I don't need you to fix these problems. It makes me so happy that I'm heard. So you're giving him direction on how to lead you well in that container. You gave him the container. You don't need to fix me. All you need to do is listen. So then he erects his masculine leadership and his masculine frame. Okay, I'm going to listen. You're giving me the good direction. So now you're flipping into the feminine to share your emotions and your frustrations. So when one person is in the masculine and the other person is the feminine and sharing, this is where it creates that polarity and attraction. This is where if a man can really hold the pose of, yeah, I gotcha. It doesn't matter what you're feeling, the good, the bad, the ugly. I want to witness it all because I see that it makes you happy that I'm listening to you. Here's another cute situation where the person I went out on a first date with was a ballroom dancer. So I followed his lead and picked up on the steps. And afterwards, we started a text exchange. He had to go out of town for a week. So the phone was our flirtation tool in building that erotic energy. And he just vulnerably said, you made me feel like such a man in the way that you surrendered into the lead of how I led you in this particular dance. So it got really flirty, and then he got to a point where he's saying, wow, I'll bet you when I cook for you, we could turn up the heat in the kitchen without even turning the stove on. So he got really poetic, and that really got the energy flowing. So the phone is just so powerful, and it's why it's so important for a man to be able to be comfortable, to be in that position of taking a risk, saying what needs to be said, and just say, I'm hot for you. I find you very sexy, or I would love to do XYZ to you when I see you. Create that conversation of emotional connection via the text. Keep it fun and light. Don't talk about anything serious via phone, because those things can be misinterpreted. And please use emojis, guys, if you're not using them already. Otherwise, women's brains, especially in the early stages of dating, we have a tendency to look at a text. It's like, okay, did he really mean this? Or is he just playing games with me? Or does he not like me? Is this why he said this in this way? So please prevent that from happening by using emojis. Or better yet, use the voice memo feature in your phone. There's nothing hotter than listening to a person's voice and to hear their excitement about the budding relationship. Or even in a committed relationship, it's great to use the voice memo feature. I had a guy send me a long voice message when he discovered something about his personality type, and it was just so beautiful for me to just listen to his voice and hear his excitement about what he found out about his personality type. So it really warmed my heart. So I invite you to go a little bit beyond your comfort zone and do something you've never done before, like leave a voice message or use emojis, or get it even a little flirtier than you normally do to create that erotic tension. So in a nutshell, in order for men to have great sex all the time, and to be appreciated for what they do for the women, and in order for women to feel emotionally heard and to have intimate conversation and non-sexual affection, both the men and the women are responsible for giving direction to each other on how they would like to be led. When you are polarized in that one person being in the lead and the other person is surrendering and following, this is where you create that attraction and that polarity, where she's going to feel so safe and well led by the leadership that she's going to be like, oh, I feel so heard. I feel emotionally taken care of. Of course I want to rip your clothes off. So she feels validated and emotionally heard. And then you, as the man, it's like, wow, I get to have my great sex that I want all the time. And I get the appreciation I need because she's giving it to me. So I hope that you got a lot out of this video to learn the deeper reasons why it is so important to understand the masculine and feminine energies within and how that relates to flirting and the seduction dance. I invite you to share your thoughts regarding this video. If you have any further questions, please post a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends so that they can understand the deep psychology of why it is so important to give each other direction on how to lead each other well so that you could have like this thriving, passionate relationship.